Good morning, YouTubers. Mike Martins here with the Mike Martins channel. Welcome to Morning Coffee with Mike. I am here and I'm pleased to wish everybody a happy Thursday morning. Commonwealth for Common Folks was an absolute hit last night. We got some good callers in, good discussion, and a couple of things remained resonant with me, starting to resonate in me, or starting to create thoughts. The bee is moving in the nest, or the hive, or whatever the bees live in. Anyways, good morning, everybody. And I want to talk about one thing that our first caller said in the show. He basically said, why do I work? Why did I work? Why did I get to work? Why did I, pursue something when all I had to do was just buy a house and live off it? I could buy a house and live off that house, and it keeps going up in price, keep refinance every 5 years, but what I do is I keep taking lines of credit and stuff and keep taking that and reinvesting it and blah, blah, blah. Well, most people would live off it to buy food, pay for activities, and do stuff, right? So here's the deal. So I got an email this morning from a gentleman that said, Mike, I bought a house in 2012 in Vancouver. So one of the bigger cities in Canada where the pricing has quadrupled or 5 times the value in the last couple of years. And he says, I bought in 2012. The value was going up. It was skyrocketing. He had a 4-bedroom and 2-bath detached home in Vancouver. That's like a gold mine. And he told me in 2012 when he bought, he thought it was a bad purchase because housing was supposed to be going down because it was already out of reach for average citizens. 2014 he got a line of credits because he was finding that food was getting expensive, property taxes went up, and there was one more thing that happened that basically, he wanted to buy a car and he wanted to get things organized. And then 2014 hits, he wanted to take a vacation, he wanted to do other stuff, he wanted to keep up with the Joneses. Now, here's the problem with that. He told me that basically right now in 2021, because of that small uptick they had, he got a little bit more money in his line of credit. And he's using that for food. Now, he's in a position right now. He bought in 2012. His house, I think he paid $740,000 for it. Now it's worth like $2.4 million. But here's the catch. If he was to sell everything he has, he'd walk away free and clear. He wouldn't make... He said he'd probably be lucky to walk away with $5,000 because the cost of living has gone up so much, whether it's food, whether it is fuel, whether it is property insurance, whether all this stuff starts to add up. And he basically was using his home to help him with his full-time job and his wife's full-time job. We get taxed so much in Canada off our wages, so it's pretty tough. It's pretty tough to make it ahead. So Buddy bought in 2012. He's in a tough situation. He's not in a tough situation. He said he's still, he's working from home. His wife got laid off, but he's working from home. And he's using his home reverse mortgage to keep. So that's why we keep seeing reports from Better Dwelling where basically more Canadians are taking out more HELOC or second mortgage debt. And then we had a few months ago where second mortgage debt disappeared and it stopped being because people were maxed out. People were maxed out. And that's a big issue. That is a major issue because people are leveraging. They're not over leveraging, so to say, because they have the house that is liquid that they could make money off whenever they feel like. But if there's a sudden turn in the market, or let's say there's a runoff on the banking institute. Let's say if there's a runoff on the banks and people lose confidence in their governments. Heck, I live in Canada and I know the Australian government and the New Zealand and the UK government and even the American government. People have almost zero confidence in their governments right now. So a sudden shift, interest rates go up, it's game over. Properties start to default, and what happens is you're going to have the sideliners. I have a gentleman out of Hong Kong. He told me he works he dedicates his practice to one customer, one client. And that client is ready and willing to buy several thousand properties in Canada and Australia and some parts of America. Several thousand, like 3,000 to 7,000 properties ready to go. Once things start to turn. And that's what's going to happen. And that's why Amerifornia is coming. I keep telling you guys, Amerifornia is coming. Pay attention, man. It's coming. And we're seeing it all across the reports. The bigger channels now, bigger YouTube channels, are starting to cover it and let people know and warning people, which is good. We've been doing it here for many years. Now, that's that. Now, I want to discuss, if that's okay with you guys, the comic book shop. So all these people are messaging, and a lot of people have no confidence in what I have to say, or what I say, or what I discuss, because I own a comic book shop. And it's the same thing when I lived in Vancouver. When I tried to find a date in Vancouver, women are like, ooh, we don't want to be associated with a man that owns like a game store or a store like this. We don't, like, women just don't want to be associated with guys like that. And it's like, okay, all right, whatever. So, no problem. But here's the thing. Guys, I have a background. Guys, I have a decent background, a very privileged, decent background in learning. I was privileged and taught finance through a big corporation where I ranked up a lot. And you know me, I pop up a lot, right? So I did really well, and I got promoted, and I was one of the best in the region, and blah, blah, blah. And I signed several disclosure agreements with several big firms, and then I got hired onto another one, and then I realized, you know what? This is my passion. I can't sleep at night knowing that people are getting either ripped off or misguided or mistrust or and I just can't sleep at night knowing that. So look, but you know what? I'm doing what I want to do. Oh, that's great, Mike. Yeah, my home's paid off. My cars are paid off. I have disposable income. I'm not trying to brag. I'm trying to tell you guys that there's ways of making it through. So I've been in this business now 17 years now, in this business, doing what I do, selling board games. People call me comic book guy, selling comics. And that's what I did. Imagine, you know how many people will kill or do whatever they can to be in this position where they could do what they want in life, and they could travel, spend a lot of time with their family, because they own a comic book store. Or some people call it a game store. Or a Pokemon store. Or a magic store. But I did well. And no, I didn't play once and got lucky, like some people say. No, I worked. And I worked really hard. And what my skill trade was out of high school? During high school. Because I'm not mentally, like, I can't read, like, I'm mentally, like, not 100%. So what they did was, in high school for grade 11 and 12, I was rebuilding transmissions in Diamond Transmission. I was rebuilding, or I was learning how to take them apart and wash them. Then I went to several other companies and learned how to rebuild transmission. And I was an automatic transmission rebuilder till my late 20s, maybe late 20s. I did really well. Had a very lucrative business down in Florida. Sold that. And no, I didn't play once and got lucky. And no, I don't just cherry pick articles to tell you guys. I see the trends. I saw Florida in 2006 and 7 when lockboxes on the door and people losing their properties and people being foreclosed on and sheriff's posters on the doors saying that the sheriff has seized the property or whatever the case may be. I've seen it. I've been there. I've touched it. I know it. And Canada is just a slow process. Canada, when it comes down, it's going to be horrendous. Canada is going to be absolutely a horrendous correction because nobody can get into the game anymore. And when you can't get first-time home buyers in the market, that's blood on the streets because they're going to have to compete for wealthy investors. Period. And that's what these countries are aiming for. They couldn't care less about us. They want us to line up and get a jab. They want us to line up and follow these rules. They want us to mask up and do all this other stuff. Well, other parts of the world are completely ignoring it, and nothing's happening in those parts of the world. So I ask you guys, do you trust the comic book man? Do you think the comic book man is misguiding you or misleading you? Do you think the comic book man is deleting your comments? I got attacked the other day for deleting people's comments, and I don't allow women to comment on my page. 98% of the people that watch my channel are men, or 97% says according to the analytics. And no, I don't delete no one's comments. Right? I just delete the spammers, like the Orlingers and those guys. I just delete those guys, when they make these fake accounts to attack me and my family. That's about it. Or post my address and stuff online, because that's all they know how to do. But anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I look forward to reading your comments below. The comic book guy, what does he know? The question is, it's not what the comic book guy knows. It's where has the comic book man been? I have spoken.